Can you tell us about the different positions that you have held at Martin? Geez, over 42 years?
Well, yeah, I'm in my, this would be my 42nd year. So, as I mentioned, I started in drafting, and I loved that. I loved drawing, and this was ink on Mylar. And so every day they would bring me parts, front blocks, rear blocks, braces, tops, rosettes, and I would draw them. And I would dimension them in inches and millimeters, and I probably worked too quickly. I became obsessed with learning the dimensions of everything, how thickness,
you've retained that
the
information.
thickness of the tops, and every last little detail. So that was fantastic. I finished a lot of the guitar drafting in 9 months, and started working on mandolins and Vega banjos and Fibes drums and different things.
There were many other different things, instruments that were offered at that time.
Right, and drumsticks. And so the Martin strike was going on. Really a painful time for Martin. During that time, I actually was fired for insubordination. That's a whole other story, but one that I'm very proud of.
Yeah, sure.
And during the strike, I worked in production doing gluing bridges and final inspection.
And so did a lot of other people who didn't normally
do
do that.
All the office workers and everything, scraping bindings. So we got through the strike. It was 9 months, and it was a painful time, but we came out of it, and eventually Frank Martin, Chris Martin's father, kind of left the business in the hands of his father, CF the third, and his son, CF the fourth, and things started to get on a really good track. So I worked in the 1833 shop, which was at the very, very beginning of the store, and built that up from novelties and memorabilia into guitar kits, guitar parts, sawmill woods for the architecture and woodworking market, lots and lots of accessories. And actually, I can't take total credit, but a good bit of what I did became the telemarketing department at Martin Guitars. Yeah. Kind of a wholesale resale business to dealers and distributors around the United States and the world. It was pretty successful. So from there, I worked in prototyping a little bit, prototyping electric guitars. Our electric guitars were never quite successful, but that was a fun time for me.
You designed the solid bodies.
Yeah, I had different ideas about what they could be. Yeah. My ideas were a little far out compared to the actual product that was introduced.
You lived on a commune, so
that's right. I was actually I subscribed more to the Alembic style,
and that's what they remind me of. Yeah.
So
laminates, beautiful laminates with laminates.
So I did that, and at home I was always working with wood. Eventually, I got to run the Martin Wood Products division, running the sawmill and running what became Woodworker's Dream over at North Street. And that was a great time for me. I got to work with George Nakashima on the cutting of his walnut logs and different logs that he would bring to our mill. I got to set up the kind of procedures for the Momex facility in Mexico when that started. I was very good at spreadsheets because I have a stock investment club with a group of friends, and I got really good with spreadsheets. Cool. So I was ahead of the game, even though the accountants weren't up to snuff with Excel. So I went down to Mexico and set up the spreadsheet procedures for manufacturing guitar strings in Mexico. And when I came back, the job of advertising opened up to me. And this was interfacing with our local agency. And I did that for a while, but the agency that we were dealing with wasn't really very good. They were a good agency, but they didn't understand guitars or guitar advertising. It's a whole language. And I wanted to pull it from the agency and bring it in the house, and this was this agency was a little bit entrenched in Martin's management.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while, but finally I was able to pull it back and start the in-house advertising agency at Martin. So this was at the dawn of Macintosh computers and desktop publishing, and it was also a really exciting time for me. I was publishing Guitar Maker magazine at home in the evening, and during the day I was working on Martin ads and Martin literature, and we published everything that Martin used, from the order forms all the way up to our catalogs and
all in-house.
All in-house, and telemarketing catalogs.
And the sounding board?
Sounding Board magazine. So during my advertising time period, I that ran for about 10 years, and it ran into the mid-1990s, when all of a sudden I started getting phone calls. What's Eric Clapton playing on the MTV Unplugged show? And I didn't know what he was playing. I did some research and found that he was playing two separate guitars. One was a 1939 0042, a beautiful old vintage guitar, and the other was a more modern 0028 that had been modified by Mike Longworth into a 45. And so
did he modify that while he was working at Martin, or was this prior to that?
No, I think it was probably prior to it.
Okay.
So I got so many phone calls about the Clapton thing that I went into Chris Martin's office and asked, can I have permission to contact Eric Clapton? Maybe we could do a signature model. We had done the Gene Autry model, so we had the working template for charities and how to go about this. And Chris said, sure, as long as it's altruistic, as you know, we're not doing the Nike sneaker thing where we pay somebody money to play our guitars. So I sent off a proposal to Eric Clapton's manager, and the very next day, the word came back from Eric himself. He was very honored and excited about the project. And coming from a Cream fan, I don't have to tell you, you know, you being like the biggest Cream person in the world here, how exciting it was for me to even have the notion of working with somebody like Eric Clapton. So we got, you know, I got over the drool, and we got down to work. It's pretty easy. We simply combined aspects of the two instruments and kind of made a 0042 with 45 style inlays and some really nice Ablam pearl. First time it was really utilized.
Ablam's the laminate.
The laminate pearl, which is so more beautiful than the regular pearl. And Eric's signature, and you know, very tasteful elements in his guitar. So that project was taken to the NAMM show, and we planned to make 461 of them, based on 461 Ocean Boulevard, and always liked having a hook like that, a story. And really it was, you know, within 2 hours of the opening of the NAMM show that the whole edition had sold out. And so then the question became, hey, Dick, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next, you know? Sure. And so I left the advertising department and was set free to do limited editions at my discretion.
Take back 1 second. So that guitar was a 0042 ECB or?
Just EC, East Indian Rosewood. And I own number 2. In fact, I got a phone call from Eric several months after the guitars had been out in the marketplace. Said he was coming over to Hoboken, New Jersey to do a video with Babyface.
Oh yeah.
And it was Change the World.
Yeah.
And that video was actually used also in the movie Phenomenon. And Eric called and said that, you know, he didn't want to hand carry a guitar. He was on his way. He was at the airport. Could I tell him what dealership he could borrow one from? Wow. Well, there were none. No. They were all sold out. And I said, Eric, they're all sold out. And he said, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, I have one.
You can use
and you can use mine.
Oh, man.
So I drove to Hoboken, New Jersey, and loaned the guitar, and they did the video with my guitar. So
that was way cool.
Remember that, everybody.
Yeah.
Eric played my guitar.
I have that song, by the way, on a CD single.
Yeah, it came out as a single.
And
it has a picture of him on the cover with sitting on a railroad, a train station bench with the guitar.
And there's 2 songs on it.
Oh.
Just like a 45 used to be. Only you don't have to flip this thing over. It's a CD.
Oh.
The second side is Oh Danny Boy. And that's the arrangement that Nike and I play when we play it. It's Clapton playing the melody with Oh Danny Boy.
Well, I never knew that. I of course have the photograph, but
yeah.
I never had the record. So that's the Clapton story, and that led to more than 100 limited editions, and probably the richest aspect of my time at Martin Guitars.
Stay tuned for part 3.